Pretty Little Liars Original Sin is not a show that I would have ever expected to be discussing on the channel
No.
in a million years, and nor would I have even a week or two ago. But I was told by some people that this is very slasherish, and yeah, for sure. I think this I would probably compare to either Scream the TV series or like my Super Psycho Sweet 16 MTV movies back in the day. This is definitely like that teeny bopper, like I'm trying to be really hip writing with using Scream, right? Like that's what I'm always gonna fucking bring up here with that kind of lingo of like, oh, we're mentioning a million movies and we're we're film fans and we got to point it out every 4 seconds through our our character that's modeled after us, the writers, and but it definitely has that CW feel in a way, but it is R-rated, but only because of cuss words.
So
if they
far?
cut the cuss words out, you could totally make this CW, like PG-13
for
type
sure.
of stuff. So there is no gore, and the kills
Yet.
are done off of screen. I'm hopeful that we'll get something, but I'm not expecting it, because why not show these?
Sure. It reminds me actually a lot of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Or that too. Sure.
Which we watched all of.
The TV series on
the
Amazon.
TV series. And I haven't finished the Scream TV series, so I don't know, but it does kind of remind me of the first few episodes that I saw.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be any gore at all.
Nope.
Which is a big shame, because I think it would really elevate the horror of the show.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
It's primarily like a teen drama with some like murder mystery kind of thrown in.
Yeah.
And the slasher elements are definitely there.
Very
For
much
sure.
so, yeah.
There's a lot of are we breaking this down like episode by episode, or are we just kind of covering the first?
I took a lot of notes.
Yeah.
So for each episode, but yes, so we're going to go in order of episodes,
Okay.
but we are going to cover all 3 right here on this video.
Okay.
But we're going to try to make it snappy.
Well, what I was going to say, because I know we're going to start at the beginning, and we probably made notes about this. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I won't. You made notes for sure about it, so we'll just get there when we get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got a cool opening montage that plays before every episode, obviously, and it's got a song I'm pretty familiar with playing over the credits here. It feels like the mask in this is very Texas Chainsaw Massacre. In fact, Tabitha, who is our Randy of the Scream franchise, she's that character. She's the movie nerd who uses a movie quote or movie reference almost every line. I mean, it's every other line, if not every line. It's crazy how much they use it. It's almost overboard. But regardless, she even points out that it looks like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yes. Which, yeah, of course. So we get this opening scene, which takes place in 1999. People are partying like it is. And this girl is ignored. This is Amanda, right? Or what's her fucking name?
Angela?
Angela, thank
Waters?
you. God damn it. Yeah. So Angela is being ignored by her sort of friends. We don't exactly know why they're ignoring her yet. We just know that they have deemed her, unsavory enough to not look at. Like, we're not even going to acknowledge your existence.
Just gonna ignore her.
Now, what happened to her before she came in, right? Like, she's distraught. She comes in there, and it looks like she's either have been chased or bullied or abused or something. Now, they mention Tabitha's mom mentions that Angela had no father. Now, we're not on episode 1. I am going to be kind of jumping all over the place because this is a 3-episode thing. I'm going to try to stay on track. But if it happens in another episode and it pertains to this, then we're going to talk about it. We have the whole, like, no father, abusive mother thing. Now, this show is called Pretty Little Liars. And just for the record, neither of us have ever seen an episode of anything Pretty Little Liars before.
Never.
And as far as I'm aware, this has nothing to do with the other ones in any way, shape, or form outside of this A thing, which is what they refer to the killer as. But I do think that's going to have relevance in this show. Whether or not it has relevance in the other show of why it's an A, I'm sure it does. I just don't know what the fuck it is. In this one, I think it stands for Angela.
Well, yes, and also there's the very obvious, it's even in episode 3, I think, of this, the Scarlet Letter with the A, so it could be that in all of them, too.
Yeah.
It's like an homage to it.
Right. So, anyway, the whole Pretty Little Liar thing, I keep thinking, like, you're going to have to take every single thing that you hear in the show, like you would with any of these murder mystery shows. You have to really take what you hear with a grain of salt. Unless you see it happen. And it's happening in the moment in which it's happening. Not someone's interpretation where they're like giving you a flashback and they're like, oh, this is what happened, and we see footage. That even is up for question, because a lot of times they're like, that's not really what happened. I just made that up and we showed you this clip that isn't real. Here's what really happened, kind of thing. So, you know, who could the killer be? I mean, we're gonna maybe get into that as we go through this, but man, there's definitely a good amount of suspects here for sure. I'm going to assume off the bat that one of our main characters is in leagues with the killer, and it's tough because, like, I was thinking Imogen was probably in on this. We don't know who the father of her baby is. They say it's a lifeguard, and then they show her, like, drinking on the beach.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to show you that she's at the beach and lifeguards are at the beach, right?
Sure, but we don't know the context of what's going on there. That could be before or after anything, really.
No, it's going to be revealed that someone we know is the father. Right, she just said it was the lifeguard, you know, some random guy to you know, take away. I think it could definitely be Noah's boyfriend, because Noah goes away to juvenile hall, and while she's in juvie, Imogen gets knocked up. Right now, this is just right off the bat without seeing much, because this is my guess as of right now, although we have not seen them together. We're 3 episodes into 8 episodes. We're getting 3 episodes this week, 2 next week, 2 the next week, and 3 the last week, which is 10 episodes, sorry.
Imogen doesn't act strange around Noah, though. I feel like there's been no focus on how, like, they look at each other or, like, anything. So I don't know if... I mean, I think it's... At this point, I think it's safe to say that everybody has a secret that they're lying about.
Absolutely.
Obviously. So it's like what you were saying. Like, you can't really trust what you're seeing, what you're hearing characters say.
No.
You have to be shown it, like, in real time in the story in order to believe it. And even then, I feel like there could definitely be some clever tricks that are like, haha, smoke and mirrors, which is the fun of shows like this, because you're just, when you're watching it, you're trying to figure out who's telling the truth, what really happened, and you're getting, you know, minimal information. So, like in the first, you know, episode, as you said, you don't know where Angela's coming from when she comes to this part, to the rave, and she is clearly really upset, and at a later point in episode 3, Tabitha's mom, when she's talking to the other moms, you know, admits that Tabitha and Imogen know about Angela now, and she's like, I only told them what's the accepted version, like what people know as the truth.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go.
Well, I just think that they feel like monsters because they ignored her and she killed herself because of it. That being said,
Yeah.
I definitely think, because this person is coming after their children and not them so far, right? Like, whether or not Imogen's mom killed herself, right? She pulls a Stanley Uris and kills herself in a bathtub, writes A.
We didn't even talk about those parts yet.
We'll get all to the homages. I have plenty I caught throughout. There's tons and tons of them. Calls to this, posters of this, whatever. We'll get there. We'll get through them. Did she kill herself or was she killed? I don't know. She knows what she did for so long. She lives with it. Then she gets a single letter which doesn't say that it's going to expose her or anything.
No,
right?
it's just a flyer.
It's just a flyer with something written on it.
Yeah.
And she kills herself over that. I just don't see that happening. I don't see that she killed herself. But Imogen is home, if she is in on this. What doesn't really make a lot of sense, and this whole scene doesn't really make any sense either way, but was when Imogen goes to the spot where Angela was killed and sees her memorial and all that stuff, she hears a noise and decides to hide in this broken down bus. She doesn't look the entire time she's in there. So she knew a killer was coming and knew it was him, even though she never saw him, somehow immediately thinks it's the killer. For whatever reason, I would not know. She just hears a noise while she's there.
I'm trying to remember because the other girls, several of them did see, Noah sees the killer when she's on her,
sure,
doing her probation work.
They see him, sure. Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember if Imogen has seen him prior to that.
If she's seen him, it wouldn't matter because she didn't see him coming. I could totally see if she saw him around there and she was doing some sleuthing without seeing. Then she hears the noise and she's like, "Oh, it must be him." She doesn't know he's there. She just hears a noise outside. She hides. She never looks up. She's pinned behind it, and then she's like, "Oh, he was there." How could she possibly know he was there? How could she possibly even know that was him to begin with?
Sure.
So that's the kind of scene where I'm like, That being said, we'll say she did, and she knows.
Yeah.
Even though I just don't see how she knows, but we'll say she knows because she said she did. That then makes me go, why would she be hiding from him when no one else is around if she's in on it with the killer? Right? So there's no reason for her to fake that. There's no video of it. There's nobody else there with her who would have saw him and saw her hiding. So I think that kind of eliminates her as, a partner in this. But that scene still makes no sense to me. I don't understand how she knew it was him. Maybe I'd have to watch it again. I missed something, but I don't think I did.
Yeah, I don't know if I think that Imogen is necessarily working with the killer, but I do think that she is hiding something related to obviously her baby and who the father is, which I think will clearly tie into everything.
Yes.
But we talked about the killer potentially being, it would be, of course, somebody related to one of the mothers or to the victim, to Angela. There needs to be some direct line, right, going back to Angela and what the moms did, which we don't know all of yet. So at this point I feel like we need to find out more about why Angela was being ignored by them and what all that meant.
But here's a clue to that. She specifically says, "Oh, I didn't read anything about that. There was no reports of the rave, blah blah blah." And the mom says, "No, there wouldn't be, because basically they buried it, right? This was a private party that they put on. Once this happened, they all ran from it, and then we're like, we don't know what happened, right?" So cops don't know about it. It was never reported. The only people that knew that rave took place were people that were there. So for that flyer to show up it has to be someone who was at the rave.
Yes.
Had to be involved in some way or another, right? Like, I guess it's possible because one of them says, one of the moms says, like, oh, there was flyers all over school. So it is possible that one of those flyers ended up, somewhere, and somebody younger who wasn't there found it and started to look into it.
Sure.
So, I mean, that's possible. I don't think that's what's happened. I definitely think someone was there and is doing this. I just definitely think they have a partner in this. Like, I would be very surprised if this was a solo person. Could be Angela's father. It could be Angela's mother, right? Because Angela's mother is mentally ill.
Sure.
So they say. And she has no father. Does she? I mean, we might see him in this, right? So, Angela's parents are my primary guess currently, but it could be any one of the moms who is like, I mean, it could be Tabitha's mom because she wanted to be nice to her and everyone else was like, no, and she feels guilt for that. But why she would take that out on their children?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't know that a parent would necessarily do that. But
what would make sense is you did this to my kid.
Sure.
I'm going to do this to your children.
Right. Hence it being Angela's parents, potentially. Or
correct. Or somebody who knew Angela.
Karen's dad.
Karen's dad.
Yeah.
Who, I don't know.
I mean, he's being set up as like a real villainous character. He's getting, blowjobs from some underage kid.
Potentially.
We don't know. They look really young, though.
Probably, though, because it would be juvenile.
It's high school and...
Yeah, they would be juvenile. I think everyone there is a juvenile.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
But in the way, obviously, that we see that he treats his family at home. He's, not a good father.
Yeah.
So he's being set up for sure as a potential villain, but I think that it might be a misdirect.
Yeah.
Because it just feels a little too obvious.
Yeah. We haven't really talked too much about the characters as they are right now. We've got Imogen, the pregnant lead of this, which you're not a big fan of currently. I'm kind of blah on her too. She's not a very relatable or likable character so far.
Yeah, I was really trying because I feel like, seeing a teen pregnancy and kind of her struggling with her mother's death, plus being pregnant, and the plan being to, initially raise the kid with her mom.
Yeah. Which
is very, interesting to me. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, that dynamic just is like, oh, okay. It's like very generational, parenting. To see that, her planning to do that and then kind of wanting an abortion late term.
After her mom's death.
I'm really trying to connect with her, but I don't know. I just feel like there's some space between, the viewer and her as a character, and I don't really know what that is and if it's intentional or if it's just, what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Some of it may have to do with her acting, which I don't think is bad, but there's some interesting choices in how she emotes certain lines that don't feel 100% genuine. But again, with this show, I almost feel like that's supposed to be the case.
Maybe.
So.
You got Tabitha, who is the film fanatic. She's the us of the show. Mm-hmm. Her character might be a little overboard to try to prove that she's the film nerd, because it's just this movie and that movie and this is like this and this is mention this movie and this.
Yes.
It's I talk about film more than anybody I've ever met in my entire life with people, but I don't talk about films this fucking much, especially around audiences that don't care. Right? I don't just sit there with my clients the entire time and just be like, oh, so anyway, about this movie and about this actor and about this thing. It's they don't want to hear about it. So I don't usually bring it up all that much. I will bring up film to see if they're interested, and if they're not, I just move on. But anyway, I get it. It's the we're one of you, right? The audience.
Sure.
You've got Karen, who's the bitch, and her sister Kelly. As far as they go, I definitely think that we are going to get some bait and switch with them. I know
Absolutely.
Karen is dead at this point, or is she?
Right.
You know, you could definitely have it to where Kelly has taken her place, you know, and died or whatever. I don't think that's the case. I mean, I am the father of identical twin girls.
Sure.
And I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way my kids could convince me the other one was the other one. There's no way. Now, her mom seems to be mentally not completely competent. And her dad is a piece of shit who doesn't seem to care about anybody but himself. So fooling them might be a little easier.
I was gonna say, I think that, and they're also not super different, it feels. I mean, Karen is definitely more of the, like, outgoing, bitchy one of the two. And Kelly seems more, like, straight-laced. But
at times,
we've already seen that Kelly can imitate her sister pretty well.
Yeah.
Enough to fool somebody who was around Kelly all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that her family isn't really as, like, tuned into them as you might be with your kids. So I do think it's possible that they would, like...
I don't think she, like, switched
Trick
deaths. I don't think that happened. It's possible.
But maybe.
With this show,
It's possible.
who knows? It's definitely possible that's Karen still alive. I don't think so, though. I do think that certain things that we've seen that are Karen might be Kelly. That's things that I'm saying.
Yeah.
What reason so far, I'm not 100% sure. Of course, why I shouldn't be 100% sure about anything at this point. But there's just certain moments with Karen where I'm like, is that Karen? I'm surprised we killed Karen off so quickly, because I felt like they were going to play more on the twin thing. But the fact that they made them identical twins, shows like this, movies like this, slasher movies and whatnot, they don't put identical twins in there unless there's some twist to it. It
true.
just does not happen. So now that could be a whole, like, bait and switch thing on us completely. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
you think this is what it's going to be because we always make it this, ha ha ha, you know, subversion of expectations. But there's something we're going to find out because we already had that. They revealed it immediately where Kelly goes in and poses as Karen to the principal. But we're going to find out something else. And I think I wrote it down in here somewhere where I think that will be. But yeah, we're definitely going to get that. We get Mouse, who's the shy one, who people think is gay, but she seems to have a thing for this dude, so I don't think that, or she's bi, it doesn't really matter. We don't really know much about her. She's the tech girl, though. We've got Noah, who's the one on house arrest, who supposedly covered for her mother's drug addiction and drugs, and the cops came and arrested her instead of her mom. That's one of those moments where it's like, is that really what happened?
Yeah.
Right? But did the mom start taking drugs because of what she did in the past and she couldn't live with it, so she's, you know, does drugs all the time now? Yeah. I don't trust Noah and I don't trust Farron at all. The way that these girls, because Farron is the dancer. The fact that they're gonna turn on their friends so easily like that, after, like, partnering up, and it's clearly their, like, plan, and then they're just like, well, you know, he kind of backed me into a corner, and it's like, Noah, do you not remember you have an ace up your sleeve with seeing the fucking chief of police getting blown by an underage minor? Like, there's no way he's coming after you when you have that kind of information on him.
To be fair, it is kind of like her word versus his. So as much as she might be able to threaten that, I mean, he clearly freaks her out way more. But the idea that he could just write her off as, like, she was on drugs or, like, you know, whatever, right? She's lying in any way.
If I was her, I'd be following his ass around with a camera and getting that shit.
Yeah, I got
you on camera. So, anyways. Okay. So, the kids say that they don't even know their moms were even friends. Now, this is one of those things where it's like uber convenience for the show, right? Like, the fact that all the moms had kids that are the exact same age, that all seem to know each other and are all girls is super convenient.
Sure.
And this happens in 1,000 movies like this, where it's like, we're going to get back at them for the sins of their father, or in this case, their mother. It's just so funny to me. They're all the same age. They all know each other, but none of them know that any of their mothers knew one another at all. Come on. I mean, it's a school of 1,000 kids, and they're all friends.
Yeah.
And they got to be like, what? You guys are friends? You can't be friends. Sorry. Okay. So we've got, they live across the street from a cemetery. That was kind of funny. We get a full-on Laurie Strode walking over to the Myers house, and the keys being put in the door, under the door, or into the mailbox, and then the killer stepping out Myers, in this case, completely recreation of the scene from 1978's Halloween. They're wearing their slasher influences very heavily on their sleeve. If you watch this, you're going to see, I hope you've seen it, but if you haven't, you would see a completely recreation of that scene, which is pretty wild to see. But I knew they recreated something, so I was waiting for it.
Throughout, there's other recreations as well, and just nods to different horror films, which was really fun to see.
Yeah.
I really liked that, and I don't necessarily... I wouldn't mind if there's more, because I feel like there will be more.
Probably.
But I'm just curious to see what other, if they draw from other franchises or, whatnot.
Yeah. When they're getting their text messages, he asks what's their favorite scary movie, which of course is a nod to Scream. But then right after that, he replies Peeping Tom, which a lot of people consider to be the first slasher film. That's that Ramones Sex Pistols argument. Was it Psycho? Was it Peeping Tom? And then, of course, some other people say other things. But those are the two most prominent examples of slashers. So the fact that he puts Peeping Tom right after that, and this is supposed to be slashery, this is yet another nod to the fact that it is. Then we get another recreation scene where Imogen is in class. She gets the text. She looks outside and she sees Michael Myers. No, she sees standing there next to his car. Then she looks back. The teacher asks her a question. She kind of breaks out of it. And when she looks back, he's gone. And instead of fate, we talk about duality instead. Now, what could that mean for the show? Is that some kind of a hint? Instead of fate, we got duality. What would that mean?
I do think that it is, some type of metaphor, foreshadowing for what would come. I think, honestly, that a lot will have to do with the sisters. Mostly because obviously Karen's death happened so early on and is clearly paralleled to what the mothers went through with Angela.
Yeah.
But there's a scene in one of the episodes with Mouse where she's typing up an essay on her computer.
Yeah.
And it's a tale of two sisters.
Yeah.
So I think that the duality in that, and I'm sure some other things that I, maybe didn't catch, are pointing towards.
Have you
Karen
seen A Tale of Two Sisters?
I have, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they remade it in the United States, but they changed the name. I saw it. I can't remember what it's called now. But it's watch A Tale of Two Sisters instead. And let's see. We've got a nod here to Black Swan, because they're doing the Black Swan play, which of course Natalie Portman's Black Swan. And the Farron's mom works for Strode, Prescott, and Ripley.
That was cool seeing that. I was really excited.
Law firm. So obviously Laurie Strode, Sidney Prescott, and Ripley from Alien. And we've got the dad is a lifeguard drinking on a beach. I don't know what to take of that. We got a lot of posters in here that I just saw so many. I wrote down a bunch of them, whether it's Child's Play 2 and Toxic Avenger. And I think there's a Suspiria poster. No.
You said Suspiria.
There was a Suspiria poster somewhere in here, but I'm trying to remember. There was another one at the theater. There was Child's Play 2. There was Toxic Avenger. And I think the other one was that. Doesn't matter. We've got the De Palma double feature, which, of course, that's another one of those things. Dressed to Kill. And what was the other one? It was Dressed to Kill.
I haven't seen Dressed to Kill.
No. You haven't. I have.
And I don't remember. I don't think the other one I've seen either. So
yeah, I've seen both.
I don't remember.
For some reason, I'm totally blanking on it. But then, of course, they are going to recreate a scene from Carrie, which is another De Palma film. I can't believe I'm blanking on what the other fucking De Palma film is that they're going to show.
It'll come back.
It will. I'm just totally blanking on it. I don't think it has any,
like relevance.
hints or relevance to it. He's reading a Fangoria magazine, which any horror fan can, and his name is Wes.
Yes.
The manager of the movie theater. And then Mouse's little crush guy, his name is Ash, and his screen name is Ash vs. Evil Dead. So, I mean, yeah, it's really good. Heavy.
It's just funny because I wonder how many people like are watching it, maybe even younger audiences that aren't super familiar with horror,
they're not catching,
and it's just going like over their head. And like for people like us, and other horror fans, it's like every scene there's something there for you to like look at and be like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
there's that
big time.
So
every fucking 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, I saw something.
Yeah.
Callbacks, homages, outright posters or whatever references. So I mean, this is heavy-handed with horror influences being addressed here. Now we got a very interesting scene here, which we haven't discussed at all. We have Tabitha leaving a GoPro in the men's locker room, watching them all shower.
Yes.
This I haven't put any thought into since we saw it. So maybe I should have before we got onto this. I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
I don't know actually.
On what she's fucking looking for?
But this is actually a reason why the show has the rating that it does, because there is a penis, at least one in that scene for like a second. I'm trying to remember. I mean, like we know that she's a film fanatic and she makes films. So I kind of was like, maybe she was recording to put it in some type of movie.
He's the one that calls her a peeping Tom. So he knows she's doing this.
But the way that she's watching the footage isn't like she's getting off.
She's investigating something.
Investigating.
But what?
Sure. I don't know.
What the fuck could she gain from watching dudes shower? Is she looking for a specific
for a birthmark?
Yeah,
I was going to say birthmark or a tattoo.
Like, how do I see these guys with their clothes off? One of them has a tattoo. One of them has a, as you said, a birthmark or a scar.
But who that is and why she's looking for them, no idea. So it's either that she's clearly looking for somebody, or she's being a creep and recording it to make some type of film. But
no chance. I
don't really see it being that.
No, because she's very much obviously like watching very closely, and it's very like academic the way she's approaching it, right? Like she's not looking at it like she's jacking off.
No. I don't mean it like that. I mean it like as like a guerrilla filmmaking technique. No. That's more what I was meaning, not like as a perv.
I get what you're saying,
but I do think that it's more likely that she's investigating.
She's looking for something.
Yeah.
She's looking for something that she needs to see them naked to see. What that could be, no fucking clue. As of yet. We still have 7 episodes to go, so more will be revealed. And Tabitha was cool until she said Midsommar was flawed. She is now flawed. I like that when her and Wes are on the side of the road and she's about to be kissed by him. I can't tell if she's into him, and I'm not sure what age she is, but I don't think she's 18, so this guy's treading on some serious dangerous fucking ice there.
Sucks too, because I will say about him, like, he would be the character that I would like, probably, of everyone.
Wasn't creeping.
If he wasn't so creepy and clearly manipulative, as she calls him, and has these bad intentions. But then there's also parts where I'm like, maybe he's not trying to be creepy. He's just like coming on really strong. But either way, if she's underage, which I think she is, she's like 16 or 17 at least. And he's graduated college, so he's in his mid to late 20s. Yeah. And that's not okay. So, but what you were saying is that when they, pull over on the side of the road and he's like about to try and kiss her, and she sees A standing in the woods.
That's such a terrible name, but I know it's from the other show, so they just went with it. But A?
Yeah.
A what? A killer?
A knockoff Leatherface.
But
killer, yeah.
What I like about that scene is that movies save lives. And I've talked about this before. Like, if the zombie apocalypse breaks out, everyone's coming to my house because I know what to do. She mentions Fincher's Zodiac.
Yes.
And is like, don't do that. I've seen how this ends. Let's go. And if he would have got out of the car there, I do think he would have gotten killed.
Yeah,
so she saved his life with her knowledge from watching Zodiac, which is an amazing film, and you should watch it. And we know that Farron had scoliosis.
Yes.
Will that play into anything? Will she start to have flare-ups? Right?
I think she might even have an injury.
Is there any way to induce flare-ups?
I didn't even realize. I don't know what I thought scoliosis was, because I feel like I have a very poor understanding of
it's a fucked up spine.
I know that much, but I didn't realize that there were ways to correct it. Yeah, because we get a flashback of her as a child with like a back brace type of thing on, and she looks terrified.
Yeah.
And it's actually it was really disturbing to see that, because it was like, oh my gosh, and now she's obviously loves ballet. But I think she probably is going to get injured, and then it's, will make that a problem for her.
We'd have to look it up, because I'm curious on if, what is the treatment? Mm-hmm. Is it something you have to continue to treat? And is there a way to kind of induce it in a way to where the killer could give her something, do something to her to bring it back on? I don't know. I don't know how it works. I don't know. I'm like you. I didn't know scoliosis could go away and then it could randomly come back when you're older. I did not know any of that. So I'd have to look it up. I don't know how this will be used against her or how this will come up again. But they wouldn't have thrown that in there if they weren't going to bring it back into the show in some capacity.
No, absolutely not.
So she's going to start to have these flare-ups. She'll probably be running from the killer, and she'll be like, ugh! I can't move now.
She's going to be like, oh man.
The chick from Old? Remember
that?
Oh my
God. That was really messed up.
That was terrifying.
No, I can't even, I'm like totally blanking on the person and the movie that it's from.
Hunchback of Notre Dame?
No.
Well, let us know if you think
it's
of it.
about sisters though, and she's in her. Why can't I think of it? Oh my god.
Okay, if you're in ballet or anything at all, and it's something you're super passionate about, and your boyfriend or girlfriend or your partner tells you, as you're trying to talk to them about it, and they know how much you're into that thing, and they're like, it's this, who cares? The fact that Karen's boyfriend is like, it's ballet, who cares?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The look she gives him too, and then she just goes on a tirade of I've been to all of your games, and I sit there and I cheer and I support because that's what a good girlfriend does.
And she's a bitch.
She's awful.
She sucks.
She's
but
complicated too. You see that she's a bully because she's being bullied at home.
Sure.
That always plays into it. But their relationship sucks so bad.
They're perfect for each other. They're awful. Yeah. And we also find out that another horrible thing, even worse, is he took her virginity and then cheated on her in the same night.
Yeah, that's fun. That's great.
That's fucking wild.
And presumably one of his friends is the one that is, messing around with her after she finds out and is drunk. Yeah, he's on the team as well, right? Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, teen people, teens in general, not the brightest.
No.
They do terrible things to each other for sure. All right. I like when, I will say, even though wishy-washy on Imogen. I do really like the scene where she stands up for herself against Karen in the lunch area and tells her, like, I'm fucking gonna do this. It's always this thing, right? This happens in all the teen movies, and it even happens in tons of slasher movies where the girl comes in. Because that's the thing. I feel like people misremember how slashers are. Like, a lot of slashers are very female, drama-centric, in high school or somewhere around that age, and they're all catty with each other, and they're all talking shit, and they all want to be prom queen or whatever, and they're talking shit behind each other's backs, and they're you know, doing this and that and blowing guys so that they can fucking be the prom queen. Whatever. This happens in tons of slashers. So for people to look at a show like this and be like, oh, I couldn't watch that shit. Like, it's nothing like the slashers that I love. Bullshit. Bullshit. I could name 20 movies off the top of my head that deal, like, slashers of the 80s that deal with shit like in this show. It's just, this is more glossy, right? Yeah. And the old 80s movies are just, you know, they're more grainy and more, you know, like lower budgeted and whatever. And they have that kind of feel to them. And this has that more like glossy, glamorized version of it, that Scream era where they brought in the pretty people and the shiny.
Yeah, and it's also the language, right? Because we talked about this with I Know What You Did last summer, where people, you know, from a different generation are listening to young kids talk, and they're using all this slang or, you know, making these references for things that weren't things when they were in high school.
Yeah.
So they have a hard time relating, which is kind of silly because, like, you can relate to them. They're high school kids. Like, you were in high school and you did have these cliques, and sure, you maybe didn't have the smartphones and the social media and, you know, all of the other things that, you know, now we have and kids have now, but the meat is still there, like the way that kids interact. That scene in particular too was like the scariest scene for me for the whole 3 episodes that we watched, when Imogen confronts Karen. It was like really terrifying. Really? Because girls are fucking scary when they're like that. They are.
Yeah.
Like, it is, I mean, it's one thing to see like 2 guys like, you know, being all like hyper masculine and wanting to beat each other up, but like the cattiness and the bitchiness coming out and just the like the words that cut.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. It's just so scary. But I like that slashers too, because like what you were saying about it being really female centric for the most part, and like, you know, a lot of drama and high school drama. I like that the slasher kind of comes in and levels the playing field, you know, in a way, and it's sort of that like, it's almost like, you know, every high school kid thinks that they're immortal, and like when you're a teen you have all this inflated ego, and then you have somebody that's coming to kill you, and that's like reality, that's like adulthood and everything that comes after your glory years.
Sure. The chief of police is rich. I mean, is this what I'm like? He's like, oh, you know why? It's because I work for it. I'm the best at what I do and this and that. I didn't know chiefs of police or whatever is a sheriff,
police officer. I think that he acts like he's tough shit and he's super moral, but I think he's very corrupt. I think he got his money and whatever else from
But Karen's supposed to be like the rich girl at school.
She is. She's affluent. She's privileged, which they call her out on. Yeah. And that is from her dad.
It doesn't seem like her mom works, and her dad's just the chief of police or the sheriff. And I've never seen a movie where the sheriff is portrayed as the rich guy in town.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that, but
like Sheriff Brackett in Halloween, they have a house like a couple houses down from Laurie.
They're like, look at our mansion.
Yeah.
The public, you know, pays.
It's just like a normal fucking house. He's not the governor.
No.
Right? Like, I didn't understand that when he was like, I did this and I worked hard and this is why we're here. And it's like, you're a cop.
Well, it's also possible that he
Cops
married the mom
known
for money.
Sure.
Or
for not making much money.
He had money.
Yeah.
Either way, he could be totally just full of shit, acting like he earned whatever he got, and it's really inherited from somebody.
It's possible.
But
I've just never seen it portrayed that way.
I think he's just that scene again just shows how much of a bad dad he is.
We got another nod here with a name. We got Jason the janitor, who was killed, and we do not see it at all, nor is his... It doesn't seem like anyone has noticed he's missing. The school doesn't seem to be looking for him. I guess they just think he walked out on his job. He was creeping on Farron, I think, or somebody. One of the girls. Doesn't matter.
It was either Farron or Noah. I think it's Farron.
I think it is too. I think it's when she comes out of dance.
Right.
So anyway,
and she's like on the phone with her.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's when she's on the phone with her mom telling her. It could be somebody else. It doesn't matter, but he's creeping as well. And Jason, the janitor, Ash, Wes, we got them all. And you kind of see a little thing, like a glimpse into what's going to happen in the future. This is the kind of the downside of doing these episodes 3 at a time like this, because you're like, oh, I saw this thing and it's going to come in, and it did. Which was Noah's piss cup on his table. And I'm like, ooh, why does he have that? Was that a little thing there for it? But we find out that he spikes her piss and sends her a video of it. So we got that. He pits everyone against each other to put them all in detention together, framing Karen for all of it. The episode ends, the first episode, with Imogen saying straight to the camera, let's kill Karen. Which is just super, disingenuous, hyperbolic bullshit.
It's funny because when she said it, I was like,
oh my god, they're gonna kill her.
They're gonna kill her, that's what's gonna happen, and I got really excited about it. I thought that was a super cool twist.
I thought they were gonna pull a Jawbreaker. And they even mentioned that movie in here, where they go and they kidnap this girl, and they're going to torture her by pretending that they're going to kill her and stuff a Jawbreaker in her mouth, and then they realize that they've killed her, and now they have to deal with those consequences. But I thought they were going to go down that route, but they're just straight up in the next episode yeah, we gotta post some videos of her, but I don't know, maybe that's too much. And it's like,
sure, they
just agreed to kill her 2 seconds
being
ago.
Hyperbolic, unless they weren't, and then later on. But I mean, obviously she's already dead. So.
But that was a really cheap move to end the episode like that, and then to not address it at all at the beginning of the second episode. To not be like, okay, just kidding.
Like JK.
Anything. Just to be like, anyways, I got this video of her and we could play that, but I don't know. I kind of feel bad about that now. It's like, you literally just ended the last episode saying you were going to murder her and everyone was in on it.
Yeah.
Because there's someone else, I think it might be Tabitha or somebody's like, yeah, I'm in or something. And it's like,
sure, yeah.
Wait, what? You guys agreed to this, and now we're just completely dismiss it. It feels very disingenuous on purpose, just to get people to go, oh, shit, they're planning on killing this girl.
Maybe somebody recorded them somehow, because it seems like it was the killer's plan to get them all, in this single location.
Yeah.
So maybe they were being recorded, and then
it would make sense that he recorded all of that
later. Yeah, and it's like,
and he has a fucking video of it.
Yeah.
But it would add to it for me if they kind of played back what she said at the end of the other episode, let's kill her. And then she's like, okay, just kidding. But then when we get the video, it's edited to where it's just that.
Yeah.
Right? But they didn't do that. So now I don't know. And then the episode ends with Rob Zombie, obviously a nod to the director himself, and the killer actually kind of reminds me of not only Leatherface, but also of Rob Zombie's Michael Myers when he's wearing the hair down over the mask and all that stuff.
And he's super tall and everything. Yeah, I was thinking that as well.
So, Spirit Week, episode 1. Now, we've got the Spirit Queen, episode 2. We'll try to move through these pretty quick here, because we've talked about a lot of things in these episodes already.
I think so.
We've got Kelly, who is the one who told on Imogen. What does that mean? At the beginning of the episode? Oh, she's the one who went... So they were at the party... And Kelly runs down and she tells Karen that Imogen is the one upstairs making out with her boyfriend. Why she did this? Maybe because she's jealous of their friendship. She wants to hurt her sister. Because Kelly's a really interesting character, because Kelly plays like this kind of the innocent sister. Her sister's, Karen is a bitch. And she's like the more level-headed, sweet one. But I think she is the more evil one.
Absolutely.
Like, she's the one that's pretending she's sweet, but she's actually a conniving little cunt under it all. And Karen is at least completely upfront with how awful she is. And I respect that much more than somebody who's trying to play like they're the good person while going behind your back and backstabbing you right and left. Right? Like, that's way worse to me. Like, at least if you're going to be an asshole, be upfront about it. That way I could just, know and write you off. You got the Draco Malfoys of the world who are like, hey, I'm a piece of shit. Nice to meet you. And you're like, okay, he's a piece of shit. Like, I got that. But to come up and be like, oh, I'm your friend. I totally got your back. Stab. It's evil. It's so much worse. It's so much worse. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with Kelly, because Kelly's all over the fucking place in this show.
Yeah, I don't think that she's supposed to be the actual sweet sister. And I even think that there might be, like you were saying, the flipping of, who was actually in a situation, whether it was Karen or Kelly.
Yeah.
Like, even this, the instance with Karen being drunk with Tyler, I almost thought that might be Kelly, because Karen doesn't even super seem to remember it.
Sure.
In a way. And I mean, if she was really drunk,
how would she have gotten her sister's outfit? She took her in her room, stripped her down naked.
I mean, it's possible though, right? No. Like, I don't know, but like just things like that though, I think that there's a lot of potential for them to set up those, like you were saying, the bait and switches. And Kelly is clearly very, like, mean-hearted. And whether it's jealousy over her sister or other people over other people, I think that she's going to do some really messed up stuff as the show goes on.
If I had to guess currently, if I was like forced to guess who the killers are, it would be Kelly and Angela's father. Right? Now, how does Imogen's father of her kids play into all of this, and what is Tabitha investigating in the showers, and is Noah really covering for her mom, and like, I don't know. But if I had to guess right now, that's my guess. I'll change that, I'm sure. But Kelly is so all over the fucking place. I don't know what to make of the chick. She's like screaming at Imogen in the bathroom 1 minute, and then shockingly is like, I invited Imogen to the funeral. She was one of my sister's friends.
Sure.
What?
Yeah.
She just tried to talk to you in the bathroom. She's like, your opinion means nothing to me. Like, your word, like, less than nothing. I don't even need to hear it. Fuck you. You must be out of your mind. And then she's like, I invited her. What? Where did this come from?
Yeah, I think that she has reasons for acting certain ways around people.
But then she saves Imogen.
Yes, but she's also kind of like, that still affects her image, right? By her stepping in to kind of be in between her grieving mother and this person who, is a bully that everyone thinks is the reason that Karen killed herself. I think that helps with how people perceive her, which is something that she's trying to control and manipulate so that she can, do what she really wants.
I don't think that Kelly saved the girls, the 5, for any noble reasons.
No.
I think that she saved them because whatever plans that her and the killer have are to take place at the school, and she doesn't want her dad getting in the way of that.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to play it like, oh, I want to save them because I don't think they deserve what's happening. But maybe, because she sees her dad's going to take their lives away or whatever, and she's like, I'm going to go protect them. I'm going to tell the principal that I made her go up there, and then she cries on the swings like, oh my God, I'm the one who was responsible for her death. I don't fucking believe you. Tabby has to film name drop every 5 seconds. I agree, Jason. I agree. And let's see. Okay, so one of those scenes that really made me question Imogen is when everyone's getting the videos sent to them to prove what terrible people they are, or whatever secrets they have are coming to light, whatever. Imogen comes in to Tabitha's room and says, like, oh, did you watch the video yet? And then she tells everyone on there, like, oh, no, like, he said that, they're, like...
This is what you get for trying to steal my boyfriend, basically.
She says that, and I'm like, we don't see the video sent to her.
No.
And we don't see that text. And she just says that it happens, and she just so happens to walk in the room. Everyone else is getting messages, but we never see her get a message. And she just tells us what she was written. That is highly suspicious.
I think that she did get sent something, and that we're going to see what that is later, and it is not the same thing that Tabitha got sent. Because the idea was that they're, they were being sent videos for what they were framed for. So Mouse got the rat video.
How would Imogen know what Tabitha got, though?
She would know that she got a message, but she doesn't say what the video is. She just says, "Are you looking at what he sent us?" So they watched Tabitha's video together, which is of
But how would
posters.
she know she got a video as well?
I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming that she maybe heard the text go off, Didn't they talk about this, though? Didn't they all already talk about getting sent different things?
They
Because
talk
they've
about
been
it in
sent
their
throughout.
FaceTime call or their Zoom call.
So
with
she
one
must have
another.
just been like,
But that's
"I got one."
after the fact. She
They don't
comes
talk
in the
about
room.
it before they all get sent one. They don't talk about the fact that they've been sent text messages, cryptic text messages.
She
from
wouldn't
people, 'cause
know
that's the
that
whole point,
anyone
right?
else got text messages in that moment.
They thought that it was all from Karen.
She specifically comes into her room and is like, are you looking at the message we were sent? Basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how would you know she was sent that? She would come in and be like, did you get a message too? Have you received yours yet?
Yeah.
Anything like that. But she's like, oh, have you looked at it yet? And she doesn't show her hers.
Yeah, it's
The
either
fact that
there's
she
a setup
knows,
there
I
for
don't
something
know.
to be shown later on.
But I like your
that
idea.
doesn't match up, or that was just kind of like a little bit of an overlook, for the scene.
Sure,
So
and
then
that's
totally possible
that's
that
a
we're
totally
overthinking
yes.
it too much.
That's another completely valid point, is that sometimes writers just make mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can also blame it on just poor writing in a moment. So it can be that as well. And I like what you're saying, though. I do think that's cool that you're saying it's not that she wasn't sent a video and that she's in on it. It's that she was sent a different video altogether and she doesn't want them to know what it is. And I like that. That actually makes more sense. So I'm going to go with that. We got a Howling poster.
That's right.
This now takes place in October, so we're going to make our way up to Halloween. I'm going to assume the last episode will take place on Halloween, but this show moves quick. Every time they mention something, I'm like, oh, that's going to be in a few episodes. Nope, it's like the next scene.
That episode.
And I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. We've got Noah comes in on her boyfriend, who says he's in a group chat with a bunch of guys and won't show her the message. She doesn't really look, and he's not really like hiding it that much. But he is kind of like, yeah, it's just some group chat with the guys I got to get out of. Is it? I don't know. I'm looking at every scene now and being like, you're suspicious. There's no talk of what any of that is, and you don't throw random things like that into a show like this.
No.
There has to be some context to that moment of what's this group chat that he's a part of. So that is something. We'll see what. We've got Tabitha, who has her name and her movie under it. I don't know if that's her favorite movie or what. Every one of the people has their movie under their name. I don't know what it is, but Jurassic Park is the movie. And when they sit down to watch this clip of Karen, she says Samuel L. Jackson's line, "Hold on to your butts," which I thought was cute. Wearing a Jurassic Park pin. And we got that answered, so we don't need that in this episode. Takes Karen's virginity and cheats. We've got... keeps phone. Imogen does try to be her friend even after what Karen says to her. She does come in. She does try to protect her. She takes the phone from the guy. But Karen makes a very good point. Why wouldn't you just delete the message, break the phone, if you didn't want to use it against me at some point in the future? 100%. This is
absolutely.
a very valid thing to say. Like, you care so much. What Imogen could have said there is like, you know, I wanted, like, I couldn't get into the phone, it's locked. Or B, you know, something like, I wanted to have this to use against him if he ever said something otherwise.
Sure.
You know, whatever. But she doesn't even try to protect herself, so she doesn't deny that at all.
She kept it because she was going to use it.
Yeah.
Or was at least having it just in case.
Yeah. We got a Ghoulies poster over the toilet in Tabitha's bathroom, which is really cool. We have a Jaws one, but I like Ghoulies even better because they'll get you in the end. This being
the rear
your end. Yeah. That is the tagline. Cutaway kills. Terrible. We gotta solve that. Yeah, is Karen dead? We'll see. Parents should know. We got a Suspiria poster. I don't know where, but I saw it somewhere in here. They get ousted in the school paper, so they would be public enemy number 1, but that never happens. Not yet, anyways. Mm-hmm. Nobody seems to come after them in the school or look at them sideways after that. They're like, oh, we're fucking dead. That never happens. I don't know if it will. I'm sure it will eventually, but it did not in that episode, which actually surprised me. I was expecting them to get more more shit from people, but we didn't get there. And she doesn't see Aid. How does she know she's there? I already talked about that. Noah and Farron want to turn on Tabby and Imogen, and Mouse is kind of stuck in the middle of that one. We already talked about that. That makes them very questionable characters, and I'm fine with them dying. And we already talked about that. And yeah, we already talked about that. See, this is what I'm saying. We're going to move through this pretty quick. And talked about that. Up in what I assume is Imogen's room in Tabitha's house, mom's house. The windows behind her are the Amityville windows from the Amityville house, which was really cool. Nod there for sure. That's only for like the horror fans to actually acknowledge. Like, they don't point a fucking spotlight at them and say anything. They're just there, which is neat. And Noah says that like all is well and she's going to dispose of this flash drive. She will not. She will not dispose of it.
Nope,
so
she's going to keep it like...
I think it's possible she's still going to turn on them with this. But they've never even checked this fucking flash drive at the guy's house. No. He just took something, or she just took something from his house and has never looked at it to confirm whether or not that's even on there, which is really weird. So it could be something altogether different on that flash drive. But she gives that flash drive to her little friend who she stands up at the dance, or did she give him the phone and he said he put it on a flash drive, right? So she never saw the flash drive. So it could be any fucking flash drive. It could.
And it's just in a basket by the door. It seems like a really random location. But I mean, maybe, right? Like, it could be. I don't think it is. I think that they're going to look at that flash drive and it's going to be something totally different. And then that's going to bring Wes into even more of like a questionable position. Like, why he has something on there, whether it's like maybe footage related to Angela or, you know, something like that.
Or he's fucking a like 16-year-old girl on there that he's drugged with his Francis Ford Coppola wine.
Right. And it could be that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, oh, you gotta watch fucking Deep Red with me first, and then we're gonna have some Deep Pink. And then you can have the flash drive.
And then you can have the flash drive.
Yeah. Ow. Oh, no. My freaking neck locked up there. That was weird.
That's the worst.
And let's see. Yeah, Kelly saves them, but why?
Right.
We already talked about this, but we did not talk about the fact that she started cutting herself with a broken piece of glass while she was talking to her father, which I'm assuming he's just an abusive asshole. And he just makes her want to cut herself. But
yeah, I think that just kind of points to her mental state even more. Like, she's angry and is obviously self-harming.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And at the end of this episode, the killer is stalking them at the cemetery. Where that will lead us into the 4th episode, I do not know. We've talked about this long enough. We're like an hour in. Yep. I think it's time to wrap this up. What did you guys think? I hope you've watched this. If you're sitting here for all of this, we will cover next week's episodes, episode 4 and 5, next Thursday. So we will see you then. What are your thoughts? Who's the killer? Why? All that good stuff. This is fun. We haven't gotten to do this in a little while, but we really enjoyed doing Yellow Jackets and Chucky and whatnot. So the week-to-week ones are really fun.
Yes,
and I'll be looking forward to seeing how fucking wrong we were about everything in the next episode. So we'll see you then. Bye.